Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Chelsea, and today I am going to be looking at the recommendations that I got from Twitter. Now, I got so many more recommendations on this tweet than I thought possible. So there are over 320 odd books on this list, or authors that are on this list, because some people just recommended authors. I probably have missed people. I know I've probably missed people, and I can only say sorry in advance. Or there were people that have probably been added to this since filming, because I am pre-filming this. So what we're going to do is today I was going to go through every single one of the recommendations, but there are over 300. So I have got my wheel randomizer to pick books, or that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm screen recording as we do this, and I will obviously let the wheel pick what we talk about. So I'm going to spin the wheel, find the book, and then read the synopsis to you, and then kind of just let you know if I think it's something that I would like to read, or whether it's something that I recommend for other people, as in, like, it sounds more like if you like romance, you'd enjoy it, that sort of thing. So that's the plan for today. So let's spin the wheel and let's see what our first recommendation is going to be. Okay, so our first selection is Red Moon by Cien Ares. I hope I'm saying that right. Let's see if we can find it. Yes, we can. Nice. Okay, so this book is 357 pages long, and it says, have you ever imagined the end of man? A world where magic is life and demons thrive. Have you ever imagined if it would be better? Have you ever imagined if it would be a better world? I know I did, until the red moon. Ice fell like rain, waves eclipsed the skies, and death upon death. All the while gods silent. Then Satio jumped into the pit, and a ripple began. The first hellbirds walked, and the ripple flourished. 10,000 years passed, and the ripple faded away, until the red moon again, and chaos began. The ripple again, and an era began, with the world echoing again. Those who sin die by the way they sinned. So there is also a content warning on here that says the series is rated R18 for adult situations, graphic violence, harem relationships, and portrayal of rape. So I'm very glad that they're there. It's nice to know what you're walking into. I myself am someone that I would rather know the trigger warnings going in than not. But that sounds pretty good. So that is Arcana of the Crimson Era Volume 1, so that's going to be the first book in that series, and it is listed as dark fantasy, horror and fantasy, so that sounded quite good. Do I think I would personally enjoy this? Possibly not with the trigger warnings. I'm not sure if I would actually attempt it for the trigger warnings, but otherwise I think it does sound like a really good sci-fi dystopian kind of a gig, so that's always a good one. So I think that's a pretty solid start. Shall we do book 2 now? So the second book we're going to look at is Cursed by Cobrador by Ray Danny, but when I've searched it, it comes up as Danny Ray, so maybe I wrote it down wrong. But this one is 443 pages, and it says, Kim Keitaro was a private medium until he was kidnapped and cursed by the kingpin Cobrador. Medium turned necromancer, Keito now possesses the power to control the dead. Rather than obeying Cobrador's command to enslave his enemies, Keitaro escapes the kingpin and vows to uncross their paths by bringing justice to Cobrador's empire. Keitaro's necromancer curse might just become the perfect skill to kick Cobrador's throne out from under him, but necromancy won't exorcise the demon Dominius that claims the curse on Keitaro's soul. Anya Garter cleanses abandoned houses of rogue spirits and fallen angels to prepare for the exorcism that will grant her freedom of fear. Fear of her narcissistic ex-boyfriend Sal and the demon Helizar that possesses him. Armed with the sword of the spirit and the ability to project her soul out of body, Anya crosses over to the realm of damnation, where she practices liberation on demons that roam the earth. To be stronger, to be faster, to be a victor and never again a victim. But to face her demons, she'll need more than experience. She'll need allies and divine intervention. When necromancer meets exorcist, their paths to deliverance merge. Both are cursed by their adversaries. Kyotaro owes a demon debt for a curse he never wanted, and Anya is tormented by the demon of her past. By creating an alliance, they risk abandoning their own objectives for each other's, but by uniting as one, perhaps they can defeat all. Okay. Sounds interesting. It's very supernatural, by the sounds of it. It does look as though it's got some good reviews on it on Kindle. Again, maybe not necessarily something I would enjoy. I'm not really into that kind of side of fantasy, like the supernatural kind of element. I like demons though, so maybe I would enjoy it. I definitely think it sounds like an interesting concept. Also, I want to know where Cobrador came from, because it just sounds really, I don't know, different. But supernatural vibes. Maybe there's a bit of romance thrown in there. Maybe Anya and Kyoto fall for each other. If they don't, I think that might make the story like better, because I hate forced relationships for just the purpose of them being there. But it does also kind of give off that supernatural, as in the TV show, vibe a little bit, and I quite like that. So maybe this is definitely one that I need to add to a wish list and check out. Let's look at book number 3. Our third one is Edge of the Rift by Hallow Scott, and this book is 382 pages long, and it says, we all become monsters at the edge of the breach. In a post-apocalyptic world where season of birth determines power, spring healers, summer mages, fall shapeshifters and water shields, a man and a woman emerge from tragic childhoods to lead humanity on opposite sides of an interrealm war. There is a hole in the sky, they call it the Rift, a portal to the gods, the scar of a suffering world. Through it, the gods rule the last scraps of civilization, hearkening war. As chaos beckons, 2 leaders emerge from the ashes of a dying planet. Julian Koda is the son of an abusive rape victim who compensates for his abandonment through psychopathy. Sierra Rune is a cancer survivor who dedicates her life to living free and fearless while experiencing the taboo and the unorthodox. Rune is the only one unafraid of Kaida, and that terrifies him because he only knows how to function through fear. Even though she gives him more chances than he deserves, how much violence can she forgive? When is a person beyond redemption? While he struggles to control his demons and she struggles to find purpose, the gods drag the ruined into war. Content warning, it is for mature audiences, which makes sense. I personally would have to do some I personally would have to do some super serious deep dives into reviews of this book, because I don't like that element of one of the characters only knowing how to, you know, go through fear, and the idea of how much can one person forgive also sounds like it's going to be possibly problematic. That is me making an assumption. I have not read the book. I have literally just read the blurb now. Do not take my words as gospel, make your own assumptions, but personally, yeah, I'd have to do a serious deep dive into reviews. I mean, looking at the reviews here, it does say it's dark, but it says that it's written well. Violent but vibrant is something someone has said. Brutal, bloody and breathtaking. I just don't know if this is a sci-fi for me. Bearing in mind the review I'm currently looking at says, on one side is a brutal, uncompromising sci-fi story steeped in graphic sex and violence that is definitely not for the faint-hearted. I myself am faint-hearted and I am not afraid to say it. So maybe this is another one I would have to give it a miss. But the idea of a rift and people, you know, going into war, but that first idea of being born into different seasons means different things. I feel as though that blurb literally is 2 different books. Let me know in the comments if you agree, but that first paragraph sounded like really, really up my street, and then we got into the characters and I'm just not sure. Not sure at all. So yeah, personally for me I'd have to do a deep dive, but if it sounds up your street, definitely check it out. I haven't said it yet, but I will be linking all of the books below. There'll be Goodreads links, so you can check out reviews and stuff beforehand. So if you want to know more about these books, definitely have a look down below in the description box. But otherwise, let's get into book number 4. So, the 4th book looks like it is the chunkiest book so far in this. Let's have a quick look at what these books are about. And that is Bucky and Lukefar Ladies. And the first book is called Walking the Labyrinth by Shirley Gilmore. This is 715 pages, so it is very chunky, and it is a series of 5 books, which sounds quite interesting to be fair. And I quite like the covers on these. These are actually pretty impressive. And the whole series is on Kindle Unlimited. So we also love to see that. So this says, when a mystery writer and his 10-year-old daughter move to the small town of Turnback, Missouri, strange things begin to happen. I love these town names. Simon Carter moved from New York City to sleepy Turnback, a town in the rugged hills of southeast Missouri on the road to nowhere, to find some peace and solitude. He thought it would be the perfect place to protect his daughter Bucky and her secret, and to shield her from the world. Little did he realise that when Bucky befriended the elderly woman of the Lukefar Ladies Bible class, it would set in motion events that would transform the town and lead to discoveries that would attract worldwide attention. What or who was behind the events that unfolded that summer, and why was everyone dreaming the same dreams? Okay, that sounds interesting. That sounds really interesting, actually. And I like how little that kind of tells you. I do like going into books not knowing an awful lot, to be honest. But it sounds interesting. I'm not sure when I'd be able to give that a try, but I definitely want to give that a try. And we love that it's on Kindle. Like most of these books are on Kindle Unlimited, by the way. Like I said, the Goodreads links will all be linked down below, but I like that description. It sounds quite good. I'm now apparently reading it, which I didn't mean to do. And yeah, I think that's the first one that I've looked at and gone, yeah, 100% I want to give that a go, which is bad, but it's not bad, if you know what I mean. Obviously, you have to take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt. The only impression that I get from this book is the blurb that I'm currently reading, and if you don't gel with the blurb, then you don't pick up the book often. That is how that works. I know a lot of us buy books via, you know, covers and if they're pretty, and I am 100% one of those people, but I also do like to try the first chapter or read the blurb or do both to see if I'm going to gel with a book. And obviously this is a very narrow point of view, so please take that with a pinch of salt. But let's have a look at the next one. Oh, I know this one already, or I have seen the cover. So this is Legacy of the Brightwash, Tainted Dominion Book 1 by Crystal Matar. Length is 664 pages. It has been nominated for 2 Stabbies, and it was an an SPFBO finalist. So this says, to Shu's faith in the law is beginning to crack. 3 years ago, he stood by when the authority condemned Jason to the brutality of the Rift for non-compliance. When Tashu's son refused to register as tainted, the laws had to be upheld. He'd never doubted his job as a regulation officer before, but 3 years of watching your son wither away can break down even the strongest convictions. Then a dead girl washed up on the bank of the Brightwash, tattooed and mutilated. Where had she come from? Who would tattoo a child? Was it the same person who killed her? Why was he the only one who cared? Will Tashu be able to stand against everything he thought he believed in to get the answers he's looking for? Legacy of Brightwash is a grounded, realistic and surprisingly dark book, but it's a book with a fundamentally moral lead that keeps the darkness from feeling gratuitous. I always get this book and The Cruel Gods muddled, thinking they're the same thing, but they're very different books. And this one actually sounds really interesting, and I love the cover of this book as well. Let's see if I can... There you go. I can get a bigger picture. I love this cover. I think it's very interesting, and I think it really does just kind of show the story a little bit. Also, what is a tainted person? Like, why are they tainted? What does that mean? I'm intrigued. I want to know more. So again, that one is another one that sounds absolutely fantastic. Okay, so the next one is Nomads of the Sea by Kobe Zucker, and the first thing that strikes me is this cover. So, we have a very beat up man, I think. And the series is called me trying to drop my phone, is called The Fish Gut God. Let's see what it says. So this says, in the Nissi Archipelago, a civil war festers. Zealous insurgents burn villages across the islands in an effort to return the Mangal people to the sea and free themselves of their Lycian overlords. Sig of the Mindandal, the son of a diplomat, must combat the growing threat. As he stamps down the rebellion, he quickly finds his talent for bloodshed surpassing his talent for peace. Idalia Goss, I think, is attached to the Lycian company that has been sent to aid the loyalist. The daughter of a renowned physician and arcane scholar, her task is to learn more about the Mangal mages who far outstrip the mainland sorcerers. Her efforts are hindered by the dark reputation of her predecessors. Back on Lissa, Bryn Urian, the inferno of Mokan Pass, has lost his spark. Once, as the foremost mage of the royal family, he slew indiscriminately in the name of his queen. Now he finds himself enfeebled and on the run. Witness the beginnings of the storied band of soldiers who came to be known as the Fish Gut Guard. Okay, so do you know what? That blurb gives off a completely different vibe to the cover does. Does that make sense? Like, I feel as though... yeah, I feel as though usually covers and blurbs like work really well together and they go together, but I feel like the cover for this book and the blurb are two separate entities, and if it was a cover buy for me I would say no, and if it was blurb only I would say yes. The blurb is definitely so much better, it sounds pretty cool, and I think this might be another one that I try and check out, to be fair, because it sounds interesting. So book number 7 is the Zodiac series, but it is the 13th Zodiac, book 1 of 3 by Lacey Crouch? Not sure, very sorry if I'm butchering your name, which I more than likely am. But this book is 407 pages long, and it says the 13th Zodiac is a high fantasy slow burn romance with a hint of anime. Originally, Elle Crouch wrote it as a comic book in high school. Now 20 years and 3 kids later, she sat down and wrote a novel. So grab some tea, slice up an apple, and enjoy this multi-POV journey 20 years in the making. Didn't actually realise that bit that I was going to read was going to be like a self-promo bit from the author, but it Pretty cool, made me laugh. Running from his past finally catches up to Jace Rayon, an ex-member of the Ashen Guard and the Crown Prince of Charl. After settling on the island of Aria, he receives an unexpected contract. The lost princess of Aria was discovered living in the port town of Brighton on the outskirts of the island kingdom. A trip to the markets in Brighton ends abruptly as Lyra Fairway stumbles into Jace. She vanishes in the busy marketplace when Jace realises who she is, the lost princess of Aria and the bearer of the 13th Zodiac Eternity and his target. Something ancient pulls them together, a bond that neither can deny. Reluctantly at first, Jace joins Lyra and the other Zodiac to end the threat of the Sorin Rayon, the king of Charl. Time is not on their side and fate has other plans. Okay, so looking at some reviews that are on the bottom, there is mention that people have enjoyed the fight scenes and the supernatural themes. There's interesting development between the characters. I'm not sure how I feel about slow burn romance because, again, I'm not a romance reader. However, the rest of it sounds pretty cool, and if she's the 13th Zodiac, does that mean there's 12 others, and what do they represent? Like, I am not a Zodiac sign kind of gal. I have no idea. So that could be a completely stupid question, and I'm sure you could tell me more, but personally, yeah, I know nothing about that. But the cover is definitely very anime. I think it would be fun. It depends if I was in the mood for a slow burn romance, but it's definitely a fun one and a less graphic one, which is quite nice. Okay, so the next one is Dark Oak by Jacob Sannox, and the cool thing about this is that it does have Audible as well, so you could get the audiobook if you wanted, and this is book 1 of 2 in the Dark Oak Chronicles. It is 315 pages long and an SPFBO finalist from 2018. It says, humanity has finally defeated the Dark Lord, but Morrick fought on the wrong side. Though he was a slave, he is branded a traitor and must earn the trust of new lords in order to return to his family if they are still alive. Now that their common enemy is dead, the nobles begin to forget old loyalties, and Queen Catherine's realm looks set to plunge into war once more. But there are older and more terrible powers dwelling within the forest, and when they are awakened, Morrick will decide who lives and dies. I want to read that. 100% want to read that. That sounds so good. I can't get it on Kindle, unfortunately, which is sad. But that sounds really, really cool. Hands down, that sounds like the one I want to read the most so far. I'm going to do another 2 books so that we have 10, and then we will wrap this up. But Dark Oak by Jacob Sannox sounds pretty cool. So our 9th book is B by Ellie Lieberman, and this is a standalone. It is 273 pages and the description is very short. It literally just says the consequences of freedom, the sacrifices for what is loved, and the battle for the future, all in the shadow of a castle that looms large over all who preside within the kingdom. Doesn't really tell you anything about the book, have to be honest. Nothing. So I'm gonna go on Goodreads and see if that can tell me anything else, because that tells you literally nothing. It says exactly the same thing. Okay, someone has said Henry is the lost prince. With the help of Ari and others, he takes back his birthright. Ellie Lieberman spins a great tale of lost princes and battles. Yeah, honestly, personally, that's a no from me. Doesn't tell me anything at all. Oh, that sounds awful. I don't want to be awful. Okay, someone's put a really decent review on. So, this might change my mind. B is a thoughtful story that shares the ebb and flow of two families as they attempt to move forward from the tragedy and heartache that life has dealt them. One is poor and one rules the land, but their struggles are shockingly similar, demonstrating that money and power are not markers of happiness. B explores themes such as loyalty to friends and family, the cost of freedom, and dealing with painful pasts in order to embrace a person's destiny. Okay, now I'm more interested. I feel as though that blurb needs to be padded out a little bit more, just to tell me a little bit more, but reading that review, I am now interested and I want to try that book. I really hope this isn't turning into like me just slamming blurbs for books, because that's not what the point of this is. But here's the last book and let's see what we get. Nice serious one to end on. So this says My Best Friend is a Chipmunk by Neil O'Donnell, but when I look up Neil O'Donnell, this book doesn't come up, but what does come up is Don't Call Me Chip. So I don't know if the book has changed names, but it says, don't mess with Timothy. He might seem like your average chipmunk who loves seeds, sunbathing and enjoying a quiet life in the suburbs, but after new neighbours move in and wreak havoc, they will have to come face to face with his wit and resourcefulness. The last straw is that the new neighbours keep calling him Chip. Convincing all manner of rodents and other small wildlife to work together, Timothy launches an assault against their invasive neighbours. Based on a true character, this book is a clean, fun read for 8th grade reading level and over. Oh, okay, that's hilarious. Actually sounds hilarious. Like, this sounds like the sort of book that you just need to read as a palate cleanser when everything is a little bit too heavy. Books included, life included. It sounds like it's meant to be a good time and you're not meant to take it too seriously, and I think that's exactly where we should end this video. So if you did enjoy it, please give it a like. It really supports me and my channel. Leave me a comment down below if any of these sound like books that you want to give a go. Please make sure to check out my pinned tweet over on Twitter. The link to my Twitter is down below. Shameless self-promo. But in that link there are over 320 odd books from different indie authors. These are all indie authors, by the way. I don't know if I've actually mentioned that already. So these are all indie authors and they have put their books forward for me to obviously recognise, and I've recognised 10 so far. And if you come back tomorrow, because I'm uploading every single day this month, if you come back tomorrow you will see that the Wheel also picked some books for me to try a chapter from, so that's also a good time. I really hope that this didn't come off in a bad way. It wasn't meant to be. It was just me reacting to blurbs and seeing if I was actually going to be interested in these books. There are so many other books on this list as well, if none of these sound like they are the ones for you. But like I said, they will be linked down below so you can go and have a look and check them out and see how you feel about them. But that's basically everything. So if you want to subscribe, see more of me, please consider subscribing down below and ring that notification bell to get notified every single time I upload new videos. Like I said, every day in August I'm uploading something. So come on back and see what else I've got in store, because I think there's quite a lot. But otherwise, that is everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it a bit of fun. And other than that, I will see you tomorrow for the Try a Chapter video. Bye.